Let's study about Charvak school of philosophy one by one. Charvak philosophy, which was also known as the Lokayata philosophy. It was also known as materialistic or hedonistic philosophy. Charvak philosophy believed that the reality is only those things which we can touch, basically those things which are tangible, and other things which we cannot touch are does not exist in the world at all. So, Charvak literally means charva, that means the good work which are pleasure to hear. Charvak philosophy is a part of Shaman tradition, which is a part of Sanatan Dharma. Charvak philosophy was propounded by Brihaspati and Ajasatru in the 6th and 7th century BCE. Now let's talk about the belief system of Charvak. They believe in maximizing happiness and minimizing pain. Now, how can you maximize happiness in Charvak philosophy? You can do so by material gain. They believe in the doctrine of pratyakshavad. What do you mean by pratyakshavad? That means the things which we can touch is the only reality. They do not believe in any kind of right or wrong. They do not believe in soul. They do not believe in God. Neither they believe in life after death. There is no pap, there is no punya concept for them. There is no heaven and no hell. They believe that religion is a fraudulent concept which is conceptualized by the crude people in order to take advantage of the global masses. They believe in the four basic elements of universe, that is Prithvi, earth, Agni, fire, Jal, water, and Samir, air. And they discarded ether as a basic element of universe. Why? Because we cannot see sky. Ether is basically sky and we cannot see or touch sky. And they also do not believe in the concept of karma. Now let's talk about the other school of Nastik philosophy, that is ashaswatvad. So see, Saswat means eternal. What do you mean by eternal? That there is no ending or no end. There's no beginning and there is no end. Astartvad means nothing is permanent in the world. Ashaswatvad was propounded by Pakhuda Kanchayana in around 6th century BCE. It belongs to the Nastik or the heterodox school of Indian philosophy. That means they reject Vedas. For them there is no soul and for them there is no life after birth. Now let's talk about ajanas school of philosophy. Ajanas school of philosophy are also known as Agyani school of philosophy. For them there is no ultimate truth. That means as there is no ultimate truth, any pursuit of knowledge is a futile exercise. That's why they are categorized under skeptic school of philosophy. They belong to Nastik or the heterodox school of philosophy. They reject God, they reject soul, and they reject rebirth. Sankhya school, which is also known as dualistic school. Sankhya school was propounded by Kapil. It is called dualistic school because it believes in the concept of two entities, that is Purus and the Prakriti. Purus is basically pure consciousness of soul or self. Purus is the soul, while the Prakriti is the matter of the nature. Purus and Prakriti, they are glued to each other by a glue of desire, and liberation can be achieved only when this Purus realizes that it is distinct from the matter. Basically, when that glue will be breaked. Sankhya school of philosophy, they do not believe in the concept of God, but they believe in karma, and they believe in the transmigration of soul. That means the body can only change its vessel. That is the soul can only change its body. That is its vessel. And soul does not die. The salvation from Sankhya school of philosophy, salvation can achieve through knowledge. Now let's talk about yoga philosophy. Yoga philosophy is a very practical school of philosophy. Basically, it is a practical application of what we have studied in the Sankhya metaphysics. Yoga, unlike Sankhya, it believes in a personal God that he calls Iswara, that is meant as a model for meditation. Yoga believes in the sum total of body, mind, and soul, that by controlling your mind you can achieve salvation. So, Patanjali was the propounder of this yoga school of philosophy. They believe that salvation can be achieved by the mental discipline, and yoga school of philosophy aided in the development of many yogic practices. It talks about yoga school of philosophy. It talks about 8 limbs of yoga, that is called as Ashtanga yoga, which are Yam, Niyam, Asanas, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. And it talks about 4 types of yoga, that is Karma yoga, Raj yoga, Jnana yoga, and Bhakti yoga. Now let's talk about Vaisheshika school of philosophy, which is atomic school, which is also known as atomic school of philosophy. It was propounded by Karnad. It talks about that the entire universe is made up of atom, that is Anu. It got later merged with Nyaya. This philosophy is basically the philosophy of atomism. That means everything in the physical universe is reduced to Parmanu atom. Later, this Vaisheshika philosophy got merged with the Nyaya school of philosophy. Vaisheshika philosophy is a pluralistic realism. That means reality is diverse rather than a single monastic substances. Now let's talk about Nyaya school of philosophy. Nyaya school of philosophy is also known as the school of logic. That means basically Nyaya Tarkbad. It was propounded by Akshpada Gautama. Nyaya school of philosophy put emphasis on the true knowledge. True knowledge which has to be verified by the logical proof. So they just don't believe in knowledge, but they believe in knowledge that can be verified. So they believe that through true knowledge one can attain salvation, but this true knowledge should be based on different logical proofs such as empiricism, practical reasoning, inference, perception, experiment, rationality, and logic. They believe in Pramanavad. What is Pramanavad? It is basically Praman, source of valid knowledge. That means, not only knowledge should be true, the source of that valid knowledge should be there, should be logical. That's why this is also known as theory of knowledge or theory of epistemology. Now let's talk about the other school of philosophy is Purva Mimamsa. Mimamsa, that is also known as Mimamsa or the school of rituals. Purva Mimamsa was propounded by Gemini. They believe that Vedas are eternal truth. That means Vedas are apurusheya. They are authorless. They believe that through Vedic principles one can attain salvation. That's why they believe in the Karma Kanda part of Vedas, that is ritualistic part of Vedas. They believe in the power of mantras and rituals over the personal deities. Now let's talk about Vedanta or Uttar Mimamsa school of philosophy. So here comes the end of Vedas because they are not based on ritualistic part of Vedas, and unlike the Mimamsa. The propounder of Vedanta or the Uttar Mimamsa school of philosophy is Badrayana. He was also known as Vedvyas. He he only authored Brahma Sutra. Vedanta school of philosophy is also known as Upanishadic principles. They emphasize on Janana Kanda part of Vedas, that is the knowledge part of Vedas, that is only the Upanishads. They basically explore the relationship between the Brahman and the Atma, where Brahman is the ultimate reality and the Atman is the individual soul. Now let's talk about the sub-schools of Vedanta. Vedantas are further classified under three major sub-schools. First is Advait, second is Vishisht Advait, and the third is Dvait. Advait Ek, that is non-dualism. It was propounded by Shankaracharya. Advait says that soul and Brahman is same. Vishisht Advait, it was propounded by Ramanujacharya. Vishisht Advait is called qualified dualism. Even though they believe that soul and Brahman will be, after moksha, they will be combined, but soul will remain a distinct part of Brahman. Dvait, it was propounded by Madhvacharya. Dvait means dualism. They believe that soul and God are separate, whereas soul is the individual soul, that is called Jiva, whereas God is Vishnu or Brahman, and we cannot combine them, they are separate. Now let's revise all the Astik school of philosophy through this table. So first school we have Sankhya. It was propounded by Kapil. It talks about dualism, reality of Purus and Prakriti. Purus is the soul and the Prakriti is the nature or matter. It talks about the Prakriti and the evolution of the universe. Another is the yoga philosophy. It was propounded by Patanjali. It talks about practicality. Physical and mental discipline lead to liberation, and it gave the concept of Ashtangika yoga, where we have 8 limbs. Then comes the Nyaya school of philosophy. It was propounded by Gautama. Nyaya school put emphasis on logic. Right knowledge with the logical proof can lead to salvation. Their key concept lies in pramanas. Now comes the Vaisheshika school of philosophy. It was propounded by Kannad. The core philosophy of Vaisheshika school is atomism. That is, universe is made up of indestructible atom, Parmanu. It talks about 7 padarth or category of reality. Now comes the Mimamsa school of philosophy. It was propounded by Gemini. They believe in ritualism. Karma Kanda section of Vedas, ritualistic part of Vedas. The dharma is to perform Vedic duties. Now let's talk about Vedanta school of philosophy. It was propounded by Badrayana. They believe in monoism, that is Janana Kanda part of Vedas, knowledge or Upanishads. They said that the Brahman is the ultimate reality.